Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. We've seen some good movements in the markets. They've given us a couple of good opportunities. Let's just look at what we have coming up here. First of all, U.S. markets, once again, pretty much the entire week the U.S. markets have been completely boring. Here we go once again, Dow closing just below 14,000, down about 10 points. You know, nothing exciting, nothing crazy. Gold is pretty flat, oil totally flat, like it's been all week as well. So not a lot of activity going on with those guys. As far as news goes today, we saw unemployment claims this morning, yada yada, nothing too crazy there. We have preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment, and we have retail sales for the UK. Retail sales is a big mover, big mover. So just keep that in mind. Let me qualify that. Can be a big mover. So just keep watch of that, especially if you have any pound trades running and active and so on. Let's get right to it, guys. Let me tell you exactly what I'm looking at here. Euro dollar, we talked about this. The euro dollar broke last night on some bad GDP news out of the European Union. It broke this 134.30, making this no longer an attractive area to be buying from. It broke right on through, and we talked about, remember, if this breaks 134.30, we have a pretty good chance of this actually breaking 133.50 too, which it did. Got all the way down to 133.15, and it's hopping around just a little bit now. Now, we do have a little short-term head and shoulders pattern on the 1 hour chart, and that played out very nicely. Here is my take on the euro dollar. There's a couple of things we can look at. We can just look at a very short-term Fibonacci level right here, and you can see that approximately from this move here, we have our 38 and 50 are somewhere in the 133.90, 134.15 areas, and those could be good areas to sell into this little correction. I think the correction is going to be, I think it might have a chance to be pretty decent. Here's what I think we're going to probably do is reach this consolidation and this support down here, which is 132.60, 65 area. In fact, I'm fairly confident that we're going to see a move down into that, and so far I think that turns into an interesting trading opportunity for the short term, somewhere that we can enter. Again, just so that it's clear, I'm looking for a run probably up to 134.80.90. Excuse me, 133.80.90, even 134.00 to short this and start taking it back down. But a couple of things I think are good to look at is this little 15-minute trend line right here is broken. And we're getting back down below support right here, which is 130. It's about 133.50. So below that, I think there is some interest in this pair, in taking this pair lower, and so that's what I'm looking at as a short-term trade, taking that into the into a double bottom here, into that whole area. There's probably 30 pips in there, but I think we need to get a little bit of a bigger run up just below 134.00 to target 132.60. So that's what I'm looking for on the euro dollar. We've had a nice big bearish candle here, and it looks like we're working on a bit of a head and shoulders pattern on this daily, on the daily chart as well. So at least we need to come down and test this trend line and kind of test that area, but it does look like we're getting a little bit of I need to go to the chiropractor head and shoulders pattern because it's a little bit off, but so far it looks like it's forming up pretty nicely. Pound dollar, here's what we have going on with the pound dollar. Pound dollar has run all the way down into, and remember, we have UK retail sales coming out in a couple hours, about 10 hours or so from now. The pound dollar's run all the way down to weekly support 3, and it's holding there pretty well so far, but there's a lot of downward push, a lot of momentum to the downside. This pound dollar is breaking big supports, but it's coming down. You can see that it's testing this support now back here. There's a lot of support back in this area, and we're finally testing that big double top here, but we're testing that big support back there. So what I think is going to be an interesting opportunity here is I'm looking at this little short-term trend line, and if we start breaking above the daily pivot, which the daily pivot's just come out and it's around 155.00, we break above that, I think we're going to be able to get a chance, and of course we want to make sure we can clear that trend line, and I think we're going to get a chance to run into this missed daily pivot here, which is around 155.80. This is a pretty good little target to aim for, and I think coming into those retail sales and so on, we could see this run happen right here. So let's just keep an eye on that. I'm not looking for any sell opportunities. We're just running into supports down here and hitting some hard stuff, so I'm not too anxious to get into that, but I am looking to get into just a little buy on some recovery. I want to short this thing somewhere below 156.00, 156.30, but I think we have a good chance to buy this up into about 155.70, 80, area. So that's what I'm looking for, just a break of that trend line and a little head on up there, for about 60 to 70 pips. We should be able to see a run there. Aussie dollar is the next one I'm looking at. Now, we've been talking about the Aussie dollar over and over and over again, and I'm looking for 103.50 and 103.80 to kind of be that general area to enter. We've entered a few times at 50, and there's 50, and it runs down, it runs up, and it runs down, up and down 20 and 30 pips from the entry, but there's just a lot of consolidation here. So we need to start making some breaks. If we can get a break below, out of this channel, that would be ideal, which is below about 103.25. That would be great. If we do start breaking above this channel, 103, 60, 70 area, then 103.80 is definitely in line, but then we're also looking possibly for a bigger run into even 104.00. But you're seeing that we had a big bullish engulfing candle here on the daily chart, which is typically a bit of a bullish signal. But we're coming up into some major resistance, which is around 103.80, 104.00, the bottom of the 200-day moving average and all of that. So I think there's going to be some good opportunity to short against that. Right now, I even like shorting against these highs here, which are about 25 pips away. We're currently sitting at about 103.50, and I think we have a good opportunity to short here and start taking this thing down to at least the 103.25 and hopefully beyond. So that's kind of what I'm looking for there. This trend line is going to be a good guide, I think, to kind of helping us find that low. But we found lots of resistance up here, lots and lots and lots of resistance, and now I think it's time for this thing to really start heading south. So that's what I'm looking for, just that break of the trend line. Again, if we get a push up, then I'm going to be looking still to short it around 103.80, 104.00. So about 30, 40, pips from current market price. But if we can get that break, then I think we're in business for a very nice run down there. The only other thing that I'm interested in here, not interested in any of the yen pairs really at all. They're so wild and crazy. But I'm decently interested in this Euro Aussie. Here's what I see happening on the Euro Aussie. I think we might get one more push. We're sitting at 129.00, 129.05. We've seen a low there of about 128.50. I'm looking for just kind of, we have support, and I want to see if this support's going to hold at 128.30 to 128, 40-ish area. Right in that area, that's where our 200-day moving average and weekly support are. So I want to get that, kind of a retest here of 128.30 to 50, and then buy off that against, against that level. And I think we have a very good opportunity to trade this pair straight on up from there. You can see we're kind of testing some of the moving averages there and doing all that stuff. Remember that the Euro Aussie is basically completely dependent upon Euro dollar pair going up and Aussie dollar pair coming down. And if that's not happening, then that's not a good time to be trying to get long in the Euro Aussie. But we do have a missed daily pivot up here. This was missed by a couple of pips, 10, 12 pips. And I think that could be a nice little target. We have a good little hammer on the 1 hour chart here. All things that could really start that movement on into the upside there. So if we start to get that momentum, things start to pick up, I'll definitely be targeting about 130.10, which gives us a little over 100 pips on a profit target, and I think that's going to be a good opportunity there. So that's what I'm looking for, guys. Best of luck. We'll see you in the chat. Make sure to join us for the daily video updates, or excuse me, the daily wrap-ups, which happen in the chat every day right around this time, and new material and content is updated in the website. Thanks a bunch, everyone. See you in the chat.